If you've ever found Google Analytics a confusing mess of data, not sure where to start, you're not alone and in the right place. So timestamps below, along with some other helpful links and resources, including a link to our UTM builder. More on that in a little bit. Now, when it comes to Google Analytics, about 50% of what's in there you're never going to use, and the other 50% you can probably learn over time. So we're just going to start with a super basic question. Why the heck do you care, right? Are you looking to try and figure out where your traffic is coming from? What are people doing on your site, your most popular pages and blog posts? Or are you tracking sales and conversion data and you want to know what's actually making you money and growing your email list? Because when you answer one of these questions, then it's really easy to ignore the 80 to 90% of stuff inside of analytics that you probably actually don't care about. So let's go ahead and dive in and answer the question, where on earth is our traffic coming from? So inside of Google Analytics 4, not Universal Analytics, because Universal Analytics is about to be killed by Google. We'll talk more about that later. You're going to come over here to Reports on the left-hand side. And then, of course, we can come down here to Acquisition, and we're going to go to User Acquisition. So this is going to help us understand where are people coming from? How are they finding our site? Now, obviously, direct, organic, social, this isn't really all that helpful. So what we want to do is click on First User, and then we can go ahead and select medium or source, but here we're going to select source medium. And once analytics loads, hopefully your internet's a heck of a lot faster than mine, you'll see here we have the source. So we have YouTube and Google and blogs, and then Facebook, and then we have the medium. So this lets us know the type of traffic. So if we were running ads on any of these platforms, then something like paid would show up here, as opposed to organic and referral, which is just telling us that people are clicking on organic posts, right? That's pretty much all the information that we're going to be able to pull out of here. And then of course we can see kind of which traffic sources are giving us people who stay on our site longer. And that's all you need to know about your traffic sources. Now, if you want to get really advanced, then you can come up here to this blue plus button and we can search First User Campaign. And so if we come over here, we can click on First User Campaign. And this is actually something that you're going to have to set up manually. So what you can do is you can use something called UTM links. And if you've ever clicked on a link and you look in the URL and you're like, what on earth is that long string of text up there? That's just extra information that we're giving to analytics about where our traffic came from specifically. And so this is a video in and of itself. So I'll take the next 60 seconds and then we'll just move on. So link in the cards and the description to a full guide to how to use UTM links. This is the second thing you should do right after watching this video. So essentially what you can do is you can group your links together. So when someone clicks on a specific type of link, then we can tell analytics, hey, this link is about this particular product, service, or campaign. And so that's what you're seeing here. Now, unfortunately, because we're using Google Analytics 4, this is all the information that we get, and this is why I still like using Universal. So again, link in the cards in the description to our other video that goes through super in detail. But you can see here, this is Universal Analytics. They have that big banner up top saying, hey, this is about to die and go away because we hate you. Okay, well, maybe they don't hate us, but I'll get off that rant. And you'll see here that we have our list of campaigns, just like we have in Google Analytics 4 here. The difference, though, is in Universal Analytics, we can actually come in and add the second column called Content ID and Ad ID, and I can actually see the exact email and the exact video that is driving traffic. So F1, F14, F58, M141, those are videos posted on this channel, and most of them were posted in 2019 and 2021, right? So the crazy cool thing about this is I can see that this video posted in 2021 is still actually not only driving some traffic, but actually making some sales. And this is really where the power of analytics comes in. I'll talk about e-commerce tracking and the mess that is later. I don't recommend you go through that right now, but I just want to show you why it's so important that you set up UTM parameters, because you're going to be able to get a tremendous amount of information on how your ads and content is performing and what's ultimately driving sales if that's something that you're tracking. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Google has not included this in Google Analytics 4. So we'll just go ahead and move on to what people are doing on your site. So when it comes to site behavior, we'll go ahead and pull our panel back out here. We're going to come down to engagement and then jump down to pages and screens. You'll notice I'm skipping a lot. We're 80-20ing the process. There's so much information in here that it's just like, oh, that's cool. And then you're just never actually going to use it for decision making. So we'll go ahead and go make this full screen. And what this will tell us is the most popular pages on our site. And then of course, the average time on the page. You can see most of these are landing pages. So the average time is absolutely terrible. And you can always come up here and click the blue plus button, come down to traffic source, and then you can filter by campaign again if you've set up UTMs, or we can scroll down a little bit and we can click on first user source. So this can help us understand the pages that are popular and then where that page is getting its traffic. So you can see here, we're just using a couple of reports to understand where people are coming from, what pages are they actually spending time on, and then how long are they actually spending on these particular pages. Obviously, if you had a list of blog posts, it's going to be a lot longer than an average time of 30 seconds. Although with landing pages, this is pretty typical. Someone comes to a page and they're like, oh, I don't want to give my email for this thing, and then they just leave, right? Which is why all of the average engagement time is so low. Although now that I've said that, I can see my homepage has a terrible engagement time as well. So maybe that's something I should fix in the future. Now, quick note before we move on and wrap up here, the demographics section is something that is probably going to frustrate you because you'll come in here, you'll see that you can see countries, but then when you scroll down, you'll see that gender and interests and age might be blank. And the reason for that is if we come up here to the top, you'll see threshold applied. So inside of Universal Analytics with all of our sites, as little traffic as I get, I can still see that information. But for whatever reason in Google Analytics 4, they've decided if you don't have enough traffic, they're not going to show you this information as part of their attempt to be more privacy friendly, as if we'd suddenly be able to figure out individual users if we had this information. So that's pretty much the only reason that it's not there. It's saying, well, we think you could somehow figure out personal information because you have so little traffic, right? Really doesn't make any sense. And then of course, here's a report that you're probably never ever going to use unless you're an app developer, and that is the tech report. So just seeing the operating systems and the different devices that people are visiting your site from. Again, it's nice information, but is it going to help us get more people to our site or make more sales? Probably not, because we all know we need to optimize for mobile anyway. Now, as crazy as it sounds, that's 90% of what you need to know as a beginner. Really just those two reports, the user acquisition report and then your engagement report, pages and screens. That's all you need to get started. Most of what else you're going to do inside of analytics is going to take some manual setup. So now let's talk about e-commerce and conversion tracking. So if I jump over to our universal property example, you'll see here that we actually can see the number of transactions and revenue, which is pretty cool. Now, unlike everything we've just talked about though, you're going to have to start setting up something called events, and you're going to have to get into something called your data layer. I highly recommend that you just hire someone to do this for you. It's going to take them a couple hours. It'll cost you a couple $100, but you're going to save literally days, if not weeks, of pulling your hair out. Yes, there are awesome tutorials here on YouTube. Now, when it comes to where to find someone, you can head over to Fiverr.com. Yes, I know there's tons of terrible things out there about Fiverr, and there's lots of things I don't like. So you can see here, I've just searched for Google Analytics 4. I've made sure the category is analytics setup. Over $100, don't be cheap here. If you're trying to get this done for less than $100, yes, you are going to be one of those horror stories where someone messed up your site. And then you can see top rated seller. And then I chose some countries that I've worked with in the past. And I know it's a cultural fit for our business. And so you can see here, someone for $135 can get it all set up. Actually, he wants, I think, $275. And you can see here, there are a couple gigs around $100. So what you need to look for is someone who's going to set up purchase value tracking or e-commerce tracking. So as an example, if you go with this pro gig and you select the standard, which is $275, this person is going to be able to go into your data layer. They're going to be able to set up all of the backend code and tag manager things that needs to be done in order for you to be able to see your e-commerce data. Again, I highly recommend just go spend a couple $100, get this done properly. If that's outside of your budget, then at the very least, check out the link in the cards in the description to how to start using UTM parameters and tags. Those are free to use and it works right out of the box with Google Analytics. You don't have to do any custom coding and you'll be ahead of 85%, if not 90% of business owners out there. Even as an agency working with multiple 6- and 7-figure clients, they don't use UTM links. It's crazy. Like the amount of information you can get by just creating special tracking links so you know the exact ads, blog posts, you know, YouTube videos that are working is going to give you a gold mine of information. So just as a final case study here, let's say you've gone over to Fiverr, you spent less than $200 or $300 to get this all set up. You set up some UTM links and I can come in here and you can see we have F1 and F14. So both of these were posted in early 2021, like the first 3 months. And you can see here, they both got about the same number of clicks and sessions. And if I was not set up with e-commerce tracking, I would think that these two videos were performed about the same. However, when I go all the way back here, I can actually start to see that, okay, well, F1 actually produced $53 in sales and F22 only produced $22. And then if I come over to 69 up here that actually got more clicks, I can see that even though it got more clicks, it didn't actually generate any sales. And again, these are all videos that were posted almost 2 years now, and this is 30-day data. So a video posted 2 years ago is still actually producing a little bit of revenue. And so this helps us understand, hey, I should go make more videos like F1 and F14 and not whatever F69 was. I don't remember the exact videos. I just know from the code names that these were made back in 2021. And so content creation, creating ads, everything you do with promoting yourself online becomes really easy because now we can come back here almost 2 years later and see, oh, that video, that blog post, that ad is actually still making money almost 2 years later. And so what do? We go improve it or we go ahead and make more content like that because it's already proven to work. So thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you got some value out of this video. I know we only went through a couple of things, but when it comes to getting started with analytics, don't try and understand everything under the sun that's going on in there. Focus on those key reports that are actually going to help you. And then of course, get an expert to help you out. Or you can spend hours looking at Measure School and Analytics Mania YouTube channels trying to figure it out yourself. Those two channels are awesome. If you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay anyone, I really wanna learn how to set up my data layer. So thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe for more guides just like this one. And until the next, keep building the business you love.